Well, turning to a big story that we're watching here in the markets today, we're already seeing some ripple effects from this. Ant's record IPO has been suspended in Shanghai and also in Hong Kong. Now, the Shanghai Exchange is saying that a changing regulatory environment disqualified the listing. Yahoo Finance's Aikiko Fujita joins us with a little bit more on this. And Aikiko, we read that we knew yesterday there was a story, I believe, in the Financial Times, just about Jack Ma as well as some of those other executives that they were being interviewed by regulators over in China. But what do we know at this point, just in terms of what exactly those regulatory concerns are when it comes to Hong Kong and the Shanghai stock exchanges?
Yeah, summoned is probably a more accurate word in terms of that meeting with Jack Ma and Ant Group executives, as well as the Chinese regulators there. You know, in terms of the specifics, there's still a lot of questions that are out there. We did get a statement from Ant Group earlier saying, apologizing for the inconvenience caused by this. They put out a letter to investors saying they will be returning the funds. But to your point, this comes just one day after that meeting with the regulators. While we don't have the specifics of that, we did get a statement from the Shanghai Exchange today saying there were other major issues, including changes in, quote, the financial technology regulatory environment that led to the suspension. Now, one of those changes that we did see on Monday are these new draft rules that Chinese regulators issued requiring online microfinance businesses to have a higher capital reserve ratio for loans and tighter controls on lending, which would certainly go to the heart of Ant Group's business model. Ant Financial releasing this statement earlier today saying we will properly handle the follow-up matters in accordance with applicable regulations of the two stock exchanges, and we will keep in close communication with the Shanghai Stock Exchange and relevant regulators and wait for the further notice with respect to further developments of our offering and listing process and disclose in a timely manner. But there is no question this is a stunning turnaround for a company that was really on the cusp of that record $35 billion IPO. Shares were expected to start trading on Thursday. The IPO was dubbed as this big win for the Shanghai Exchange's tech-focused Star Market, which is seen as a competitor to the NASDAQ. This coming at a time when these Chinese companies have been under increasing scrutiny from Western exchanges. But one thing that's important to maybe follow here is that Beijing had increasingly become uncomfortable with the scale and influence of Ant Group and its focus on lending to smaller businesses. Of course, they've had 730 million monthly users. And in recent years, Jack Ma had maintained that Ant Group is a tech platform first before it is a financial one that was seen as a way to skirt financial regulation in China. One more thing to note here, Shauna, Jack Ma did make some comments last week that potentially rattled some regulators in China, saying that today banks are still operating with a pawn shop mentality, needing collateral and guarantees are just like pawn shops. We're looking at those comments in hindsight, potentially that the Shanghai Exchange's suspension of this IPO, as well as the Hong Kong Exchange's suspension, could have been potentially punishment for some of those comments that Jack Ma made.